What's going on, guys? Paco here. Welcome back to the channel. On your way in, make sure you leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to help support the channel. And we are going to watch a video of the big gaming news by Jor Raptor.
We got some great things to look forward to in gaming. While last week's gaming news roundup video was kind of a downer, I promise that we got some good news this time. Although we cannot ignore the reality of the gaming industry. So, a ton to go over. Good that you're joining the Sunday news.
Yeah, the reality of the gaming industry right now is that the gaming industry is going down. The woke culture is still prevalent in the gaming industry. There's a lot of massive lawsuits going on. AAA games are falling, though some of them are doing quite well, don't get me wrong. Indie games are taking over for the most part. The gaming industry is completely flipping around than how it was 10 years ago.
News roundup, and let's go. We always thought that Naughty Dog would release just one big AAA game during the PlayStation 5 generation, Intergalactic, the new third-person action game that Neil Druckmann has been directing since shortly after The Last of Us Part 2 launched. As you might know, that game seems to release 7 years after The Last of Us sequel, like it's now targeting summer 2027. And one of the reasons for this long development cycle is that a large part of Naughty Dog was working on The Last of Us Online, which we learned this week was around 80% complete before it was cancelled.
Oh, they canceled it?
The project, who has since left Naughty Dog, mentioned on a recent podcast that at one point they had to decide between continuing development on Intergalactic or fully committing to this extraction shooter take on The Last of Us. And yes, they ultimately chose to focus on the new single-player IP. He also said that I remember finding out
I think that was a smart move by Naughty Dog. I don't know how an extraction shooter for Last of Us would actually work, or if it would even be popular at all.
It was getting cancelled just 24 hours before it was supposed to be announced to the public, which is kinda wild. Of course, we talked before about why even develop a Last of Us Online game if you later figure out that you cannot support it, like that it would hurt your single player output, but I digress. It's just one of the many PlayStation studios that lost valuable development time due to Sony's live service push, but now they're back to a single player focus. So the same Last of Us Online director revealed that Naughty Dog had at least 2 single-player projects in development at the time Factions 2, so Last of Us Online, was cancelled. And yes, there's a high chance that this includes a new Uncharted game. Because we know that alongside Intergalactic, there's at least one other team within Naughty Dog led by Sean, who knows he's a creative director. He worked on Uncharted, The Lost Legacy, and also on The Last of Us Part 1. He posted an image this week mentioning that he's doing some research. Now that could of course mean a lot of things, but it totally fits the Uncharted series, especially when combined with earlier rumors that he has been working on a new entry for around 3 years, and that report dates back to March 2025, so that would be now 4 years. And I would be surprised.
I've played the first Uncharted. I started playing the second. I never finished it. And I went and played a couple hours of the fourth one, but never really finished it. Uncharted is a game series that I have to go back into and try it again. You know how you just have those game series where you start playing them and you just kind of fall off for whatever reason? That could be what happened with me with Uncharted. So I do want to go back and give this series a try.
If Naughty Dog is working on 2 new IP at the same time, so that makes, I think, Uncharted as the second project way more likely. But Neil Druckmann has also teased this week that The Last of Us still has a few stops left. So I think they will launch Intergalactic in summer 2027 or maybe a bit later than this Uncharted game, maybe in 2028 as like a PlayStation 6 launch window title, and then they will focus on The Last of Us Part 3 as their next project. Let me know what you're most excited about for Naughty Dog. We will get the Intergalactic gameplay reveal probably soon, maybe at the June State of Play or in September. I will keep you of course posted here. Yes, I mentioned Uncharted, PlayStation 6 launch window. I still think that game will also come to PS5, so that will be the other big Naughty Dog game on the PS5 generation. But still though, according to leakers with a solid track record, the PlayStation 6 is still targeting a late 2027 release. Yes.
See, I'm not a fan of these console releases. I mean, rumor is, of course, we don't have any confirmed reports from Microsoft or Sony. What rumors are is, at least from what I'm seeing, PlayStation 6 is going to be at a minimum $1,000, and the new Xbox Project Helix is going to be at a minimum 1100. At the price points that they're putting these consoles now, it would just be cheaper to go out in the long run, be cheaper to go out and build your own PC. But with Sony canceling PC support for their titles, you're also kind of stuck in a hard place. You're going to have to fork over the money for the PlayStation 6 if you want to play some of these exclusives. In the beginning, Sony's going to release the exclusives on the PlayStation 5, but give it a year or two, maybe 3, and then same thing that happened with Ghost of Yotai. Ghost of Yotai was only a PlayStation 5 exclusive. It's going to end up happening, and then you're going to have to go fork over the money for a PlayStation 6.
We got new rumors this week. Last week I talked about the massive $100 increase for the PlayStation 5, bringing the base
Yeah, it
model
was
to
ridiculous.
$650, and the PS5 Pro is now $900. Well, in a new video this week, Moore's Law is Dead actually claims that the PlayStation 6 will launch cheaper than the PlayStation 5 Pro, and that a potential PlayStation 6S model could even come in below the current base PS5 price. I know this sounds crazy, but let me explain. And Moore's Law is Dead has been accurate before. He actually talked about the PSSR 2 a year ago, the new update for the PS5 Pro that just released. And he was also right about multiple PS5 Pro details before it was revealed, etc, etc. So according to him, internal Sony documents suggest that the PS6 is being designed with efficiency in mind. It should be a much smaller console, meaning that Sony can ship more units at once, and component costs should be lower too. So based on these rumors, Sony seems to be designing the PlayStation 6 specifically to deal with the current market challenges, which also gives them extra reason to still go ahead with that holiday 2027 launch window.
If Sony actually does this, ships a smaller console and makes it in the price range of say $500 to $800, estimating here, it would be a huge W for Sony, and it would also force Microsoft to have to come in at around the same price range just to be able to compete.
Now, of course, these are still rumors, like take them with a grain of salt. Things can of course change, but I still thought it was interesting to bring this up. And it's another reason why the PlayStation 6 might launch in 2027 after all, next to the fact that it would of course be very hard for Sony to change launch window titles, etc, etc. So I will keep you posted. Let's move on to more gaming news, including 2 big rumors. Leave a like and subscribe because I post one of these big gaming news roundup videos every Sunday. Time for quick shots, news stories I will go over quickly. Xbox has announced their big June showcase, airing on June 7th, and it will end with a deep dive into Gears of War
I can't wait.
which will likely get a late 2026 release date. You might remember the
It's not that it likely will get a late release date. From what I'm seeing is they have not confirmed any delays for Gears of War E-Day, and during their last showcase, they did confirm that E-Day will be launching in 2026.
direct Starfield had after the Xbox show in 2023, so expect something similar. Xbox also announced a Fanta collaboration across multiple franchises, including the Halo 1 remake, featuring a Master Chief skin that you see right here, and it's redeemable beginning at launch, which strongly implies that the game is launching soon, because this collaboration is already starting now. The Verge previously reported a summer release window for this PS5 Halo title that will of course launch on PC and Xbox as well, so July or August seems likely. Fable, my most anticipated Xbox first-party game, is still targeting this year, although I still would not be surprised if it slips to 2027 to avoid the GTA launch window. And I'm also really looking forward to Blade from Arcane, the studio behind Deathloop and Dishonored. It has been 3 years since this reveal trailer, so it feels like time for a new look. A new trailer.
Okay, hold on. So Gears of War E-Day is launching this year. You have Fable that is speculated with an autumn 2026 release date, and now you have a Marvel's Blade. We're talking about the vampire dude with the sword, and you also have a Marvel's Wolverine game coming out. I think gaming is starting to come on an upward trend now. Depending on how all these games are made and how they go about doing it, gaming could be starting to get on a path to coming back.
Trailer and hopefully release date for Clockwork Revolution would also be great. Like, Xbox has an incredibly strong lineup, and with many of these titles
I'm still iffy about this one.
I think the showcase will be worth watching for everyone.
Well,
Not
Fable,
to mention potential third-party reveals like the heavily rumored Persona 6. Let me know what you want to see on June 7th in the comments down below. But yeah, like I said, the gaming industry is still having a hard time. Another week, another studio hit by layoffs, this time Eidos Montreal. The team has not released a new game since the excellent Guardians of the Galaxy in 2021.
Never played it.
They were working on a new open-world third-person action-adventure game where players would control a character named River. Insider Gaming got to see footage that they could not share publicly, but they said that it looked similar to Wild, the unreleased game from Beyond Good and Evil creator Michel Ancel. In this project, players would be part of a group of teenagers fighting spirits with magical staffs and riding mythical creatures. Which
that sounds cool.
Doesn't sound that compelling, maybe for like a smaller indie game, but this game had been struggling for years, going through 4 different game engines, narrative direction issues, and a budget that ballooned to hundreds of millions. They started in 2019. But it gets crazier because this was close to completion and planned for a release this year, but publisher Embracer likely chose a tax write-off instead of launching it, which is honestly wild. They have now laid off 124 employees, with the studio head also departing. In total, the studio has lost almost 300 staff in recent years. Now, they've also been supporting projects like Fable and Grounded 2, which has helped keep them afloat, but it's hard to see how they will return to developing their own AAA titles anytime soon. We got 2 rumors in the rumor roundup this week, and of course, as always, I will rate them with stars. 3 meaning I believe it, and 1 means let's take this with a huge grain of salt. Let's start with a quick Star Wars Jedi 3 rumor. A few Sunday videos ago, I mentioned that Kinda Funny's Tim Geddes said that he heard the third Jedi game could be announced soon and might.
I think if any rumor about this is possible, it's that it could be announced this year, like we could be given a teaser trailer. I know Respawn has already confirmed that they are working on Jedi 3, which will wrap up the Cal Kestis trilogy. I don't think it'll be releasing this year. I think the earliest it'll be releasing would be holiday next year. Oh, I can't wait for this. First one, Jedi Fallen Order, was amazing. The second one, Jedi Survival, I think I got those in the right order. Yeah, that was an even better game. I cannot wait to see how Cal Kestis' story
even release in September or later this year. And honestly, that's not crazy. From Fallen Order to Jedi Survivor was 3 years and 5 months, which would line up perfectly for a September 2026 release for the third game. So now a Reddit user has shared some additional details, claiming that the game will be announced on Monday, May the 4th, and release later this year, although that could still change. They also mention a dual blaster stance and even moral choices that we can make, although they should not impact the ending of the game.
That would be
now,
amazing.
Big grain of salt here. A random Reddit post is of course not reliable, but that is what this segment is for, to highlight what's being discussed online. And again, I can totally see Jedi 3 arriving sooner than expected, so I'm giving this 2 stars for now, and of course I will keep you posted. May the 4th is close, and I cannot wait for this third game. Leak number 2 is not about 1, but 2 Lord of the Rings games currently in development.
Dude, if they're actually making Lord of the Rings games and they're good, unlike the Golem game we had that was an absolute disaster that ended that studio, if they're actually making legitimate good Lord of the Rings games, oh my god, dude, it's been so long since we had a good one. Like, for me personally, it's been Third Age, War in the North, Lord of the Rings Conquest. I enjoyed the Lord of the Rings Online, the MMO. It was alright, but it's been a long time. I mean, Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War were good, but I didn't enjoy them as much as I did the older games. But if they're making a new one, that gets me so excited. I'm a huge fan of Lord of the Rings, huge fan of Harry Potter. Like, I cannot wait to Hogwarts Legacy 2 releases. Anything Lord of the Rings, anything Harry Potter universe related, it gets me super excited for.
At big studios. Back in October last year, Insider Gaming reported that a brand new Lord of the Rings game was in development, backed by a $100 million investment from Abu Dhabi's investment office. This is said to be a third-person action game designed to compete with Hogwarts Legacy.
Yes!
Now, it looks like Crystal Dynamics might be the studio behind it, but yeah, as you might know, they're also working on a new Tomb Raider named Catalyst. And they're overseeing the Tomb Raider 1 remake, that Flying Wild Hog is developing. They previously did Evil West. And with Catalyst also being open world, a Lord of the Rings project like this would make a logical sense as a next step. And even after the recent layoffs, Crystal Dynamics is still a pretty sizable studio with around 200 developers. But there's more. We also have a new leak suggesting that Warhorse Studios, known for Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 and 2, is working on a Lord of the Rings RPG. Because during a recent episode of a Tolkien-focused podcast, a veteran Polish developer who worked at CD Projekt Red mentioned that he heard that Warhorse is developing the large-scale Lord of the Rings RPG. And this would not be surprising, because Embracer Group, which owns both Crystal Dynamics and Warhorse, spent a ton of money to get the rights to create Lord of the Rings entertainment, including games. So putting multiple studios on the franchise is a logical move. That said though, having two open world single player Lord of the Rings RPGs at the same time might be a bit much, although maybe the Crystal Dynamics one is first person and more action adventure, while the Kingdom Come developers are working on a first person, really like deep RPG open world game. I want to give 3 stars, but I'm still going with 2.
I don't care, I'll play both.
I believe these projects are real, especially the one that Warhorse is making, but things could change given the current situation at Embracer, and the recent Eidos Montreal news shows that. This coming week we will see the release of Starfield on PlayStation 5 alongside its second DLC and a free update adding highly requested features like expanded space exploration. Let me know if you will be playing. Lords of the Fallen is also being added to the PlayStation Plus Essential lineup, and I'm back from my trip
Not
to
a fan
my
of
brother's
Souls-like.
wedding in China. So expect a return to more React style content and other videos. Let me know if there's anything specific that you want to see me cover. I will also be back with my new stream, so you can set a reminder for that by clicking on the screen. Thanks for watching. I'll be back with a new Sunday video, of course, at the end of the week. For now,
there's a lot of good things coming up. Fable, Gears of War E-Day, the potential release for Jedi 3, the 2 Lord of the Rings games that are rumored. Like I said, if all of this stuff comes true and they do it correctly, gaming could be on an upward trend again. Where at this point, honestly, we're just going to have to wait and see. But if you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe to help support the channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.